Thank you for viewing the fifth workshop in a series of the Academic Enhancement Program sponsored by the Bumpers College. Today's topic is on overcoming procrastination. Procrastination afflicts millions of people and almost always has a negative effect on productivity and a student's sense of well-being. Although everyone procrastinates in his or her own way, it can best be defined as delaying required or desired tasks by choosing other activities. So we're going to spend a few minutes today discussing some techniques to help you overcome this condition or disease. Why overcome procrastination? Well, if you put things off to the last minute, you are most likely going to reduce your ability to perform at your best. And it's very likely that you will just decide to not complete the activity at all. This clip art is a great example. How many times have you intended to finish a project or thought you could complete it later, and yet later never came? On a more serious note, procrastination leads to stress and low self-esteem. It leads to chronic worrying, which uses a lot of energy without really accomplishing any results. Everyone has their own reasons for procrastinating, but generally those reasons can be grouped together into 5 major categories. The first reason, rebellion. Rebellion happens most often in college with freshmen. Students have their first taste of freedom. However, they lack the insight into the fact that the activity or assignment will have to be addressed at some point. Procrastination simply adds to poor results. The next reason would be fear of failure. It's a very realistic characteristic of students who procrastinate, and it provides some false rationalization of why one did poorly. The third reason, lack of enjoyment. Immediate entertainment or satisfaction, such as watching television, looking at Facebook, or talking on the phone, seems more valuable than doing something that someone doesn't enjoy. The fourth one, fear of success. Success for some students can be a stressor if it's not well managed. And the fifth reason, lack of motivation or emotional intelligence. Many students lack the internal drive to accomplish their long-term goals because they're so used to immediate gratification. It's difficult to find value in the short-term goals when you're not able to see the immediate connection or immediate reward. So how should we address the causes of procrastination? What is the cure? Ask yourself why you're planning to accomplish something. If it's based on what others expect or fear of negative consequences, you may not be very motivated. If it's based on what you truly want or need, you're likely to be more motivated. Be careful to avoid sabotaging your own wants or needs just because others also think you should accomplish something. It's more important to take care of yourself than to spite others. So are you the first to go to college in your family? Are you attending because it's expected of you or because you really want to be here? Here's a couple cures for procrastination. One is getting a bite-sized mentality. What that really means is taking what seems to be overwhelming tasks and breaking them down into measurable and achievable goals. It will help you get over the fear of failure. Here's a personal example. When I got my course syllabus each semester, I always found the date when the paper was due. And then I stressed about it up through the first week or actually the week the paper was due. Finally, I'd push myself through tears and stress to finish on time. Now, the best way to deal with a major project is to find the due date, then calculate how many days you have to complete it. Take the project and break it into small, achievable parts. Make a commitment to complete part of the project each week, or even each day, depending on the size of the project. For example, if the project is writing a paper, identify the parts to a paper. Pick a topic, research the topic, develop an outline, produce the introduction, complete the body, write the conclusion, and review it. Assign a week or several days to each of these areas to accomplish the completed task. That way it doesn't seem so insurmountable when the due date is arriving. Make sense? Here's another cure. Set up a reward punishment system. If I read for 20 minutes, I get to call John. If I don't, I need to do the dishes. Using the reward system really works if you're disciplined enough to return back to your work after any break you provide yourself. Next, study in a place reserved for study only. Haley always promised herself she'd study in her room after she ate. However, there were always too many distractions, and she rarely studied in her room. When she went to her favorite place in the library, she was always more successful. Now, why do you think Haley was always more successful in the library? Well, obviously, it's because there tend to be fewer distractions in the library. I should mention, if you choose to use a public place such as the library, try to find the same location each time. That way, you won't be distracted by new stimulus or new items to look at. Another cure might be that you want to become a groupie. So when possible, study with a group of dedicated students. Others can be an inspiration to keep up and learn and support your efforts. You may discover others have different learning styles and pick up on items that you would normally ignore. It can make you a much better student. However, I must warn you, it's important that someone in the group keeps the trio on task. Otherwise, the group could become a distraction. And then finally, there are a number of resources on campus to assist you as well. Review these offices. Each of them have trained staff available that can assist you in diagnosing the cause of your procrastination, as well as helping you identify an action plan to find the cure. Their contact information is not only available on this slide, but also easily accessible on the university's webpage in the A to Z directory. As the image portrays here, the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Identify a resource today and give them a call for an appointment. Now that we've discussed several cures, let's take a moment to address some behavioral solutions. Obviously, these concepts come from the field of psychology, and not to be too theoretical, but it is the science of human behavior. We choose how we react to situations. Situations don't cause feelings and actions. Our interpretations of them cause feelings and actions. Let's look at an example for a moment. This situation, a parent tells you to do your homework. Person one's thought response is, he's always bossing me around. The emotion or feeling response is that they're angry. The action or behavior will end up being rebellion, and so person one chooses to not do their homework. Person two receives the same instruction. Person two's thought response is, I want to do well in this class. Their emotional response is energized. The action or behavior results in person two doing their homework. So choosing how to react from someone else's direction will actually impact the action you take. It's important to understand the cognitive response, the emotional reaction, and then the behavior that is the result of the two. Make sense? To change procrastinator behavior, we must change the thoughts and beliefs that cause it. The first step, identify the thoughts and beliefs. This is easier if we know what to look for. Internalizing those activities will create a sense of internal drive strength and personal motivation to complete those tasks, rather than placing the responsibility on an external agent such as a parent, a teacher, an academic advisor, a roommate, or a significant other. Here's another example. Let's take a moment to look at some procrastinators' terminology. How often have you used some of these phrases when you really didn't want to do something? I have to because the teacher's going to make me. I wish I could blow it off and go to the football game. If only I could do both. Well, even my favorite phrase comes from Porky Pig, and he says, "Tomorrow I'll diet." These phrases we use to reflect our underlying thoughts, what we really believe. Now, here are some anti-procrastination phrases. I will complete my paper and be a successful student because I want to. I'll definitely work hard to get that project done. I am confident I can earn an A. I'll start on Monday at 10 o'clock and I'll continue each day until the project is through. After I turn my paper in, I'll reward myself by going to the movies. Utilizing these phrases on a daily basis will help begin to change the procrastination type behaviors or the cognitive and emotional reaction to things. Now that I've given you some things to think about, I need to point out that change doesn't happen just because you think about it. You must take some action. So now that you're aware of the types of thoughts that lead to procrastination, I suggest that you keep a log for about 2 weeks. Here's how to do it. The first step, whenever you're aware that you're procrastinating, write it down. Write down the task you intended to accomplish, such as I was going to read 20 pages of nutrition. Next, write down what you've been thinking or saying immediately before you began to procrastinate. Notice what your current behavior is, such as watching television or being on Facebook. And then recognize what are your current feelings. Are you angry? Are you disappointed? Are you guilty? The log will allow you to see your patterns. Once you're aware of those, you'll be more able to apply appropriate cures, such as change procrastinator phrases to anti-procrastination phrases, adding more positive reinforcements to provide incentives, and also don't forget to break those large projects into manageable tasks. Once you make some positive changes, continue to keep a log to see patterns of improvement. Based on what you see, fine-tune your plan as needed. Using this approach, you will likely reduce procrastination and feel more in control of your own behavior. It's difficult to start a log. You're worried about whether or not you're going to do it right. Well, my advice is just start. No one's going to be looking at it but you. Now, some of you may remember from an earlier workshop that it takes about 27 to 30 days to develop a new habit. So in reality, it's going to be a little challenging and it's going to be uncomfortable when you first start. So just practice and just do it. That all sounds like a great idea, but how do you start? Well, now that you've learned some strategies specific to overcoming procrastination, try these general time management strategies. They'll often help prevent procrastination. When you're trying to change some unhealthy habits, it's good to have a step-by-step game plan. So here it is for you. Step 1, assess your current patterns. Record all of your activities for the last 2 weeks on a calendar. And include everything from classes to work to eating to showering to socializing. Step 2, use a priority system. Now, take time to rank order your items. Rank items A if they simply must be done. Use B for important but not essential items. And use C for items that are of low value and can easily be discarded. Step 3, design a balanced schedule. Don't forget to include rewards for daily accomplishments. The 4th step, just try it out for a couple weeks. And then finally, refine it, assess it, and figure out what works for you. You may ask, why would you put all this effort into just simply creating a schedule? Well, the benefits include you'll actually find more time for fun and flexibility. You'll have a better sense of control and balance, and more importantly, you'll be less stressed and depressed. You want to remember to allow for positive reinforcement, and then Most importantly, you're less likely to have a chance of forgetting important projects. We can't add more hours to the day, so we have to use them as effectively as we can. A good way to try to prioritize your activities is to try to think of the time as either fixed time, these are non-negotiable times such as class or work, or flex time. These activities are fluid and can change regularly, such as eating, cleaning, and socializing. Now, I've asked this question before in a previous workshop. Which category would you place studying in? I highly recommend that you create some fixed periods of time to apply your studying. It will help you significantly improve your grades. Obviously, you want to try to study when you're most psychologically alert. And when you have a free period of 3 to 4 hours, break it up by studying 3 to 4 different subjects. That'll keep you from getting bored. And if possible, study your least favorite subject first, followed by your favorite. This makes use of what we know as the Premack principle. Less desired activities are more likely to occur if followed by more highly desired activities. A good general strategy is to reward yourself for each 50 minutes of study time with a 10-minute break. That's when you can relax, call a friend, catch up on Facebook. Leave some free time each day and call it flex time. This is time you can use to take care of emergencies or unexpected catch-up work. And if these do not occur, then it can certainly be used to just have a little fun. Be sure to plan a good balance of activities, including time for recreation, exercise, small study breaks, eating, and adequate sleep. When planning your schedule, use your prior experience to estimate the amount of time that you'll need to study to get the grades you want. While you study, observe and write down your behaviors, their consequences, and the environments you're in. This will help you become aware of the factors that facilitate and interfere with your ability to study more efficiently. Not everyone is going to apply these cures and techniques the same way. But if you begin to insert 1 or 2 in your daily habits, I'm sure you will begin to see some positive changes in your life. We wish you the best of success in overcoming procrastination and achieving your dreams. A PDF of the PowerPoint slides are available to download in Blackboard for your review. I encourage you to complete the brief quiz to identify how much information you retained, as well as demonstrate to your academic advisor or instructor that you completed this program. And although this information in this workshop may be all you need, if you do need further assistance, then don't hesitate to give me a call. Have a great rest of the semester.